Hi everybody, this is Live Chat Part 2, let's crack on. And the saga of the telephone continues. Zeb replied, "Thanks for your replies. I'll probably make up my mind about what phone to choose over the weekend." She then wrote, "Gosh, the shipping is at least 4 weeks to get a Nexus 5. I have no choice than to postpone this buy as I'll not be in France to receive it by then." I had a bright idea and said, "Oh, that's annoying. Maybe you'll be able to get one on your travels. What about in duty free?" And Zeb replied, "Thanks for the duty free idea. I'll have a look at this option." Then, let's see, Victoria Ivanova said hi and disappeared. I said to her, "Hi Victoria, I've just imagined you walking into a room, saying hi and walking out again, leaving the other people in the room wondering what that was all about." Anyway, Oana started a topic with, "Hi everybody." No space after the exclamation mark. Come on, Oana. Put some spaces after your punctuation. "May someone help me about a mystery? Because for me it's a mystery how to calculate weight and height in English. Thanks in advance." Okay, so could someone help me with a mystery? Because for me, and I'd put a question mark there. Okay, so could someone help me with a mystery? Question mark. New sentence. For me, it's a mystery how to calculate weight and height in English. Full stop. That's a statement. Thanks in advance. Full stop. And my reply, I'm hoping it was useful. I wish I could say it was easy, but as ever, it depends. My favourite reply. It's all a bit of a mess in the UK. We use pounds and ounces and kilos and grams. We use litres and pints, and we use miles and feet and inches, but also talk about kilometres and metres. So in the pub you order a pint of beer, and at the shops you can still buy a pint of milk, but it will carry 1.14 L for litres on the label. You can order 500 grams of cheese, but you can also order a pound of cheese. But you can also order a couple of pounds of cheese. I thought I'd got to correct myself then for a moment. Road signs are in miles, as is the mileage in your car, but the speedometer in your car will show miles and kilometres. Young people measure their height in centimetres and weight in kilograms, but oldies like me in feet and inches and stones and pounds. If you don't believe me, try this online app. And it's from the NHS, and it's in pounds and ounces and kilograms. So, as I say, a mess. I find online converters very, very useful. In Google, type convert one, whatever it is, to whatever you want to convert it to. So you could put 1 foot to metres or 1 metre to feet, and it will convert it for you. Thank you, Lynn, said Oana. It is very useful. Too many exclamation marks, Oana. By the way, you have a very nice voice. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. You too. Get rid of those exclamation marks till you have something really surprising for me. But it is nice of you to say I've got a nice voice. I hope you don't mind me nagging you about these punctuation bits, but I figure, hey, that's what you're here for. I replied, "Hi Oana, thank you. People tell me this, but I can't hear it myself. I hope you have a great day too." And Oana said, "That's true what you say. Actually, what you'd say there is, what you say is true. But if everyone says you have a very nice voice, means is true." Okay, I think you meant, but if everyone says you have a very nice voice, it must mean it is true. Thank you for everything. You're welcome, Oana. Okay, and then somebody called Denisha came and said, "Hi, I'd like to practice my English language, so let's speak up." Quite agree, but speak up means you're talking too quietly. Speak up, I can't hear you. So, Denisha, "Hi, I'd like to practice my English." Capital E for English. No need to add language. English is a language. Yeah, it's like saying, "I'd like to practice my French language." No, I'd like to practice my French. I'd like to practice my English. Personally, I need to practice my German. I said, "Hi, Denisha. We love practicing our English." Denisha said, "Long time no speak English. I think my grammar amburadul." Haha. Yeah, haha indeed. Amburadul? I'm not sure what I'm saying there. I hope it's not rude. So, Denisha, you would say, "It's been a long time since I have spoken English." Capital E for English. I think my grammar... amburadul. Okay. Let's go on, because Zeb went, "Hi Denisha, amburadul? What does it mean?" And Anisha said, "Hi Zeb, ha ha ha, I mean my grammar is not good. Shambles. Ambaradal is Indonesian language." Again, get rid of the language bit, it's Indonesian. So what you could have said would be, ha ha ha, I mean my grammar is not good, it's a shambles. Ambaradal is Indonesian. And don't forget, capital I for Indonesian, full stop. Zeb replied to Denisha, "Hee hee, you're mixing up languages. Not sure that it's going to help me understand you. Grammar. We're not friends either." Denisha said then, "Really? Ha ha ha. My lecturer said don't worry about grammar. You just need to speak up." Okay. My lecturer said don't worry about grammar. You just need to speak up. Oh yeah, name is Zeb. Okay. Oh, yes, your name is Zeb. Y-O-U-R, not And oh yeah, is something that somebody from, I don't know, Sloane area of London might say. So O, capital O, H, and then yes, Y-E-S, comma. Your name is Zeb? Question mark. Okay. I then said, "Hi Denisha, your lecturer isn't wrong as long as you're not going to take any tests. And most importantly, when you speak up, people understand you. It's all good." Zeb replied, "Yes, Denisha, my name is Zeb. Do you agree with this lecturer who told you not to worry about grammar?" Science then popped in and said, "Hi Denisha, why do you want to learn English? It is unuseful in Indonesia, isn't it? All your written sentences will be recorded and corrected by your teacher, so no reason to check your grammar. Anyway, you are in the best place that gives you the opportunity to practice your English. Just check the calendar of events and join us to see how professional we are. LOL. So, science. Hi Denisha, why do you want to learn English? It's not useful in Indonesia, is it? All your written sentences will be recorded and corrected by our teacher. So, and that should be comma, so, no reason to check your grammar." Well, I wouldn't say that. Always be responsible for your own grammar and your own spelling, and you might be lucky and somebody might correct you if you make a mistake. Anyway, you're in the best place that gives you, you're in the best place to practice your English. That gives you the opportunity to, too many words, yeah? You're in the best place to practice your English. Just check the calendar of events and join us to see how professional we are. Full stop. No need to put any exclamation marks. LOL? LOL? Well, we are pretty professional most of the time. Then Zeb quite rightly said, "Why do you think English is not useful in Indonesia?" Science 24. And I wrote, "There's an interesting article here," and I pointed you to an interesting article in The Guardian, and Zeb said, "It makes me wonder how they deal with their languages issues in India or even China." Okay, so you'd say, Zeb, "It makes me wonder how they deal with language issues in India or even China." I think you mean by the number of languages that they speak. Yes, I'm sure. We have similar in the UK. Yeah? Do you speak Gaelic? Or do you speak Welsh? Or do you speak English? Mosi came along and said, "Hi, anybody is there?" So Mosi, you'd say, "Hi, is anybody there?" And I went, "Hi, Mosi." Zeb said, "Hi, Mosi. Sure, there are people around. They are not always popping in at the same time, though." Okay, when you use that word always, you don't use "they're not always doing that" unless it's a bad habit. So I'm always losing my keys. So they don't always pop in at the same time, though, because of that word always. It becomes present simple. Okay? Right, and we've got a nice long conversation. I like the long conversations going on here. And Seb started this one by sharing a video, and you'd have to look at the video to really understand the conversation, really, so it's going to be a bit difficult, but it's a video of an exercise machine where you do lots and lots of exercise and you get a free ticket for the tube. Okay, so she called it a fantastic idea, and then Oana just said, "Hi Zeb, how are you?" And Zeb replied, "Hi Oana, what do you think of the video?" So when somebody posts something specific, it's as well to react to it Nice post, or yes, I agree with you, or may I respectfully disagree with you. And if it's a video, watch it and then reply. Otherwise, just start a new conversation. So, Oana then said, very good, really. Spacers. And Zeb said, I love the idea. It connects people together and makes them have fun. I want this in Paris now. Now that's when you use an exclamation mark. Owen said, it's a very nice idea. Space. I love to see the people happy making the thinks together. And Zeb got a bit confused. I won't give this correction because I know I've already corrected it. I'm sorry, I don't get it. Why do you say it is making people think together? And I replied, I think Oana meant doing things together. So there's a lot of difference between doing and making. Okay, we do a lot of stuff, we make a lot of stuff. And you can make things or you can do things. If you make things, you've got something physical to hold in your hand. If you do things, it means you're spending time doing that thing. Not necessarily going to have something to hold in your hand afterwards. And Oana said, you're right, Lynn. That I meant to say thanks. Okay. You're right, Lynn. That's what I meant to say, full stop. Thanks, with a capital T. And she carried on. I mean that I love to see the people happy, and I love also to see the people together when they do activities together. Now is clear? So, I mean that I love seeing people happy, and I love to see people together when they do things together. Is that clear now? And Zeb said, I think that got the wrong teeth in today. I think that an incentive is key. A free metro ticket. That's referring to the video. And Oana then said, now I don't understand what you mean to say. And so Oana, you'd say, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Zeb then said, people are squatting up and down 30 times in front of others to get a free metro ticket. I don't think many would do it otherwise. I replied, it's a brilliant idea, but I hope it doesn't become the only way you can use the tube. I'd have to walk. And Zeb went, it can't be, not in France anyway. I can't imagine French people waiting in a queue for squatting 30 times to get a ticket to commute or keep going on their journey. There would be a strike on the spot, lol. Or they would play truants. Okay, so you'd say there, or they would play truant, singular. Alwyn then jumped into the conversation. Not the only way to use the tube, but a good more reason to use it. Ooh. So, capital N for the beginning of your sentence, Alwyn. Maybe you could say, it's not the only way to use the tube, but it's one more good reason to use it. Zeb then replied, if I can avoid the metro and being underground to commute, a free ticket is not going to change my mind. But I can imagine myself getting in a tube station just to share some fun with the people using the machine before getting out afterward and going off with my routine. Whew, okay. But I can imagine, I-M-A-G-I-N-E, myself getting on a tube, going to the tube station just to share some fun with the people using the machine, before leaving and getting on with my daily routine. So I can imagine you just going there to do the exercise. You could go to the gym, Zeb. Alwyn's picked Zeb up on this. You don't like metro? So you'd say, Alwyn, you don't like the metro? It's a very fast and cheap conveyance. So it's a very fast and cheap, C-H-E-A-P, means of transport. Conveyance? Oof. No. It's a means of transport, okay? Trust me. Do you hate underground? You could say, do you hate being underground, or do you hate the underground? Because in London, of course, we don't call it the metro, we call it the London Underground or the tube. Zeb replied to Alwyn, I think that we are very lucky in Paris with the public transport system. I like the metro. It's very convenient, but I prefer to avoid it during peak hours, rush hours. It's not pleasant to feel like a sardine in a can and be at the level of everyone's armpits. I'm rather short. Aww. And I replied, the tube in London at rush hour. No thanks, I'd rather walk. Zeb then said, this is going to take us into this week, but I'll just carry on anyway. You may even go faster walking than taking the tube. People tend not to link the tube and street maps. As a result, they take a tube line, eventually connect to another line when it would have sufficed to cross a couple of streets and walk no more than 300 metres. So what you could say there, Zeb, is Um, you could even get somewhere faster than taking the tube. People tend not to link the tube and street maps, comma. As a result, they take a tube line eventually, connect to another line. As a result, they take a tube line and eventually connect to another line when it would have been easier to cross a couple of streets and walk no more than 300 metres. And I replied, exactly! I guess once people have paid for their Oyster card, they want to make the most of it. Zeb said, don't employers refund part or all of the Oyster card fee for people working for them? Depends on the employer, Zeb. Alwind then said, this reply is very funny, it makes me laugh, but you are right. I remember the Paris Metro and yours problem with rush hours. Okay. Alwind, you could say, but you're right, comma, I, capital I, remember the Paris Metro and your problems at rush hour. Okay. Zeb replied, it seems like you could see clearly the picture with your mind's eyes. Okay, we only have one eye in our mind. So you'd say, it seems like you could see the picture clearly in your mind's eye. Okay, that's what we'd say, in your mind's eye. Arwind replied, yes, of course, because I was in Paris some years ago, and I remember some situation. Again, capital I. Zeb replied, how do you get around your place? By car only? And Alwyn said, not only by car, I can turn around my place by bicycle, by scooter, by foot. So, not only by car. I, capital I, can get around my city by cycle, C-Y-C-L-E, by scooter, or on foot. Full stop. In my place I can't use the metro because there isn't that. Okay. In my city, I, capital I, can't use the metro because there isn't any. And then we can use the train also. The nearest airport is Bologna. Do you know Bologna? Zeb then said, I think you meant get around your place, because if you turn around your place, then I don't think you will go anywhere. I imagine that you are on a merry-go-round, maybe seated on a car, a push-bike, a bike, a scooter, or even on a horse, an elephant, etc., turning round and round and round. You would have to catch the brass ring to get a free ticket for another ride. What's your favourite mean of transportation? Alwyn then said, my favourite mean of transportation is the sickle. I love it. Okay, so what's your favourite means of transport? Or what's your favourite way of getting around? And Alwyn, my favourite means of transport is the cycle, C-Y-C-L-E. I love it. Zeb then said, if you ask me, I like riding me bike, bicycle or push bike, but I prefer walking above all. So Zeb, my, M-Y, not me, my, M-I, it's M-Y, my bike. Owana then said, sorry, I did not understand from video that it was a free ticket. Now I understand. So, sorry, space after your comma. I did not understand from the video that it was all for a free ticket. Now I understand. And there you could use your exclamation mark, Oana. Now I understand. They really should have done this if they had not received anything in return. I think not, unfortunately. Okay. Would they really have done this if they had not received anything in return? I don't think so, unfortunately. And then full stop. Zeb then says, I do funny or silly things just for the sake of it, don't you? And Oana said, me too. When you're answering a question like don't you, you say, yes, I do too. Then Zeb said, super, now I'm looking forward to an anecdote. Oh, no, now I'm looking forward to an anecdote. Anecdote, A-N-E-C-D-O-T-E. A little story about you acting or doing something silly. I love to listen to people's stories. Oana said, that means you're a good listener. Something silly. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe the way how I act when I'm with my kids. So, maybe the way I act when I'm with my kids. And then you'd have full stop. I love being childlike, to make games, to be a child again, and it's the best opportunity to do that when I'm with them. Yeah, it's a good excuse, isn't it, Oana? So, I love being childlike, to play games, to be a child again, comma. And it's the best opportunity to do this is when I'm with them. Full stop. Good. Zeb then said, I like to go on top of a hill and roll down like a ball. I call that doing roly-polies, by the way. What are your kids' favourite games and activities when you all play together? Oana said, my son likes to play football and I'm the goalkeeper, and my daughter likes big girl activities, household chores, in which we really enjoy together. Okay, no need for the in. So household chores, which we really enjoy together. She is only 3 years old. Oh, she'll learn. Household chores, bang! Then said, if I could pop over one afternoon, I would show the three of you how to make crepes, French pancakes. Sorry. We would get your daughter and son to prepare the batter. Then it would be time to get into a soccer match, as the batter has to rest for a couple of hours. Afterwards, it's time to flip pancakes and eat them. Yeah, it sounds like fun. I used to have these kinds of activities, and plenty of others, with my brothers when they were kids. I'm missing these moments sometimes. Okay, I miss these moments sometimes. Always, sometimes, every day, forever. Simple present. Then Oana said, it's a very good idea, but I think that I'm better than you to make pancakes. Okay, careful, Oana, she is French. It's a very good idea, but I think I'm better than you at making pancakes. It could be a great challenge. I miss to be a child again. I think it's the most beautiful time of a person's life. So I miss being a child again, or I miss being a child. I think it's the most beautiful time of a person's life. It is for the lucky children, yes. Zeb then said, OK, I'm in for the challenge. It'll mean more pancakes for everyone. Last time I cooked pancakes, it was in Australia. It attracted a bunch of people, which was great to make a French-Oz connection. The Great Crepe Cook-Off. Oana then said, the last summer I was in Sardinia. Okay, so last summer I was in Sardinia, and there, which is Sardinia, Sardina, Sardina, Sardinia, and there I cooked pancakes every night for the children. For them it was a great thing. You could say there, for them it was a great treat. The pancakes are very simple to cook, but they're very appreciated all over the world. Okay, not the pancakes, just pancakes. Pancakes are very simple to cook and are appreciated all over the world. Zeb replied, you cooked pancakes every evening for children? I hope you got them involved to flip the pancakes in the frying pan. So you'd say there, Zeb, I hope you got involved. I hope you got them involved flipping the pancakes in the frying pan. I don't know anyone who doesn't like pancakes. Mine will be with some sugar and lemon, please. And you, what's your favourite topping on pancakes? Oana then said, mine will be with Nutella. Tell me, how good are you to spin in the air the pancakes? Okay. Tell me, how good are you at spinning? No. How good are you at flipping pancakes? Zeb said, and your kids, what is their favourite topping? Nutella, like you? I used to be very good at flipping pancakes. Now I may lack practice. And you? And Oana said, of course, like their mother, which I presume means the bit about being good at making pancakes. So Zeb then said Oana, you are good to spin in the air the pancakes. You didn't answer me earlier. Yes, she did. It's called flipping pancakes, Oana. So Zeb, you're good at flipping pancakes. You didn't answer me earlier. And Zeb said, I used to, but now I may lack practice. And you? Oana then said, I'm very good, but how can you be sure of what I'm saying? Only by demonstration. Yeah, there's always video, guys. I think it makes pancakes more interesting. Do you agree with me? Zeb then said, when we are a bunch of friends in the kitchen, taking turns to flip them is a fun activity. But the downside is that we eat pancakes as they are made, nothing left for later. Besides pancakes, do you enjoy cooking? And Oana said, of course, Zeb, it can't be in another way. If I can't enjoy to cook, what else I can enjoy? I should be ashamed to say no when there are so many chefs men. Okay. Oana, of course, Zeb, it couldn't be any other way. If I couldn't enjoy cooking, what else could I enjoy? I would be ashamed to say no when there are so many male chefs. Zeb then said, oops then, I prefer eating to cooking. I'm afraid I would never be a chef. Could say there, I could never be a chef. Unless it's personal choice, I would never be a chef. I would never want to be a chef. Will you be the cook to prepare the Christmas meal? Okay. Will you be the cook preparing the Christmas meal? Oana then said, you can be everything you want to be, just really want it. Oh, just to really want it. Okay. don't know if you can be everything you want to be, but you can be anything you want to be. You just need to really want it. Unfortunately, I will be at work for Christmas. For me this year, Christmas will be on the 26th of December, when I will go in Romania to my kids. So, Oana, unfortunately, I will be at work this Christmas. Full stop. For me this year, Christmas will be on 26th December, when I will travel to Romania to be with my kids. Zebs then said, I don't want to be a cook. You will be among the brave ones working during the Christmas period. I hope it's not going to be too tough for you and the kids. Then back to Romania. Christmas is just going to be postponed. I guess everyone is looking forward to it. Oana said, You're right, but we try to adapt to conditions since we cannot change anything. We cannot change anything. Cannot is one word, yeah? Slightly different meaning if you say we cannot change anything. So we cannot change anything. We will enjoy even more the next day because will be a blessed day, day of seeing. Ah, that's nice. We will enjoy the next day even more because it will be a blessed day of seeing each other. And Zebzen said, That's the spirit, good on you. As a friend of mine is always saying, turn adversity to advantage. I stop for now, catch you later, bye. And Oana said, bye. And then the same sort of replies to the same video, very, very popular video, Zeb, well done for posting it. Gim said, Aha, I've just watched this video. Okay, I have just watched this video. As I work 2 days a week in Paris, I think that if there was a machine like that, I would give it a try. Okay, no need to use a question mark there, Gim, just a full stop. I think it is an experience and that delivering tickets for free will hardly be generalised, so one machine is okay, but more and diversified. I wonder if it could be possible. Okay, here I think you were trying to say, Gim, something along the lines of, I think it's a one-off. Handing out tickets for free isn't likely to catch on. One machine is okay, but more, I doubt it could be possible. Okay, then, economically, I mean, thought the idea is wonderful. Okay, economically, I mean, which is, though the idea is wonderful. Not, I thought the idea was wonderful, but I think you meant there, though the idea is wonderful. Or perhaps different activity, but on a couple of machines scattered in a city. So, or perhaps a different activities, but on a couple of machines, couple is always plural, scattered around the city. By the way, I totally agree with you about the pleasantness of being tight like cattle, especially in the Paris metro, in the Parisian metro. Okay, I would say there, rather than pleasantness, by the way, I totally agree with you about the pleasure of being packed in like cattle, especially in the Parisian metro, and being with one E, B-E-I-N-G. Zeb replied to Gim, Have you tried Velib instead of the tube? The first 30 minutes are free, and it doesn't provide the same pleasure as the metro. I'm not even sure what the Velib is. Gim said, Yes, of course, indeed. I usually use Velov as I live near Lyon, but when I travel to Paris I have to carry my luggage, which is not that convenient. Isn't it a bit dangerous to ride a bike in Paris among all these motorbikes, cars and bus? Okay, all plural. Motorbikes, cars and buses, B-U-S-E-S. Hey, by the way, the French football team has just won his ticket to the World Cup in Brazil. Has just won its ticket to the World Cup in Brazil. Yippee! Okay, yippee is Y-I double P double E. Yippee. I'm not that fond of football, but it is delighting nevertheless. Okay, I'm not that fond of football, but it is delightful nevertheless. Zeb then said, France qualified for the World Cup in Brazil. It was unhoped for. Vive la France! Not sure if I'm allowed to say that as an English person. No, cycling Paris is not dangerous. Okay, cycling around Paris is not dangerous. You would be surprised at how many people are on their bike every day. Are people, plural, bikes, plural. Unless it's a lot of people on one bike, like the goodies in the TV series. Alwyn then replied again to the same video. The best! Maybe it'll be the best idea to fit everybody. Good, Zeb. Okay, maybe it'll be the best idea to get everybody fit. And everybody is one word, okay? Otherwise it's everybody. which would be lots of bodies. Zeb replied to Alwind, it would even be better if there were different machines, each machine offering a different activity to complete. It could be a shoot 'em up, having to repeat a sentence in whatever language as long as it's not yours. Sing, etc. Oh, I'm not sure about the language thing. Excuse me, Zeb, said Alwind, but I don't understand all in this sentence, especially in the end. Can you explain to me what mean? Okay, so nice interruption there, Alwind. Excuse me, Seb, but I couldn't understand everything in this sentence, especially at the end. Okay, and I capitalise. Okay, could you explain to me what you mean? Okay, then Zeb said, I would prefer to see machines offering more activities. One machine would ask you to squat 30 times, like in the video. Another one would ask you to shoot at something, like in the game Resident Evil. Another one would be kind of jukebox. Okay, another one would be a kind of jukebox, and you would have to sing along with the machine. Another one could be to challenge you to repeat a phrase in a language you don't know. Alwyn then said, your fantasy is running away. You would like than people is doing what they don't get usually. Ooh, your fantasy is running away with you. Would you like people to do what they don't do usually? Zeb then said, lol, I'm more of a down-to-earth person. Do I would like people to do what they don't usually do? Ooh, okay. Would I like people to do what they don't usually do? It's not my business, really. It's a joke, said Alwind. But where's the punchline? Replied Zeb. The punchline is going away, said Alwind. I hope not if it is a tea punch. I love rum. Okay, you've totally lost me on that one. If anybody wants to enlighten me, please do. Then Suffolk said, hi, I want learn English. Oh, of course you do, Suffolk. Okay, Suffolk, capital I, want to learn English with a capital E and full stop at the end. And then, it looks like it was Sunday because Oana popped in and said, I wish you all a wonderful Sunday. Study, study, and be happy. Okay, so Oana, well done. You're leaving spaces after your punctuation. Excellent. Don't forget to end your full stop. End your sentences as well, though. A smiley is not a replacement for punctuation, I always say. Arwind replied to Oana, very good weekend. Me too. I had studied some English. How many hours a day do you study English? So Arwind, very good weekend to you too. I had to study some English too. Okay, so capital I, English with a capital E, and two, when you're saying me too, or I had to do that too, it's TOO. And then it's a full stop, so your question would start with a capital letter H. How many hours a day do you study English? And English, proper noun, capital E. Oana replied, depends of my free time. I can't tell you for sure, and you Alwind. Oh, Oana, you've stopped putting any spaces in. Depends on my free time, comma, space. I can't tell you for sure, full stop. What about you, Alwind? Alwind said, in free time I like to shoot some photo also. Do you like photography? So, Alwind, in my free time, capital I, like to shoot photos. Do you like photography? And you've got a question mark and a full stop, which is a bit overkill at the end of your sentences. So just the question mark to finish off the question. No need for a full stop because it's not a statement. Oana said, yeah, very much. Okay, yeah, exclamation mark. Well, that's okay, but leave a space after it, okay? Alwind then said, okay, I'm very happy if you like photography. Okay, Alwind, capital I, and okay, I'm very happy that you like photography. Do you post any photos in some network? Do you post any photos on some network? Flickr, G+, etc. Oana said, on Facebook. And Alwind replied, shame, I don't have FB account. Okay, shame, I don't have an FB account. Full stop. How, capital H, can I, capital I, look at your photos? Okay, how can I look at your photos? How can I look yours shoots? No, doesn't sound right if I say it, does it? How can I look at your photos? And again, question mark, no exclamation. Zeb then said, "Where do you upload your photos, Alwyn?" Alwind. Alwyn said, "I upload them on Flickr." And remember, Flickr is a company, so capital F. Do you know Flickr? So I upload them on Flickr, full stop, and your question mark, capital D. Your question following a capital D to start it. Do you know Flickr, or have you heard of Flickr, you could say. Zeb then said, "I don't have any Flickr account, but I know it." Okay, I don't have a Flickr account, but I know of it. Is it possible to see a few shots of yours? Can you provide us with the link to your Flickr photo album? Owen then said, "Yes, of course, but I post photo in the G Plus also." Okay, Owen, "Yes, of course, but I also post photos in G Plus." Okay, and capital I. Zeb then said, "All right, I'll have a peek at you G Plus profile to see your photos." Okay, "All right, Zeb, I'll have a peek at your G Plus profile to see your photos. There are several, aren't there?" Uwana then said, "Only if you have account you can see the other." So Uwana, what you meant to say, I think, is you can only see other people's photos if you have an account. Alwyn then said, "Yes, I know," capital I, Alwyn. Zeb then said, "Is it possible to set some photos visible for everyone on FB?" Is it possible to set some photos to be visible for everyone on FB? Don't think you can. Owana said, "Is not?" I think you meant to say "it's not," which would be a statement, so no question mark. What you wrote was "is not," as in "isn't it?" And then I think you were trying to say "no, it's not possible," so that's a statement. No, comma, it's not. Full stop. Zeb then said, "I have no idea, Owana, as I don't have a FB account." I'd actually say an FB account. If you're going to do the initialization, FB, I don't have a Facebook account, but I don't have an FB account. It's the reason why I was asking you. Owana then said, "It is possible. Everything is possible." Oh, I'm confused now. But perfect English there, Owana. Alwyn then said, I try to think in English with a capital E, and I try to read everything in English." Okay, and I, capital I, try to read everything with a small e in English with a capital E. Today I read some Photoshop instruction. Do you know Photoshop? Okay. Today I, capital I, read some Photoshop instructions, comma, no, full stop, and then D capitalized because it's a question. Do you know Photoshop? And Photoshop is a sort of proper noun, so capital P for Photoshop, and a question mark. Owana said, "That is very good, Alwind. I'm doing the same when I'm alone." Okay, that's very good, Alwind. I do the same when I'm alone, because it's a habit. It's something you do regularly. I mean that I'm trying to think in English too. Okay, I mean that I try to think in English too. I know Photoshop. Okay, you could say I know of Photoshop, and again, Photoshop is a product, so it's a capital P. Okay, and then replying to the study and be happy thread, Zeb replied to Uwana, "I'll do some Spanish today, not all day long, but just for my brain, not to forget that I take my Spanish seriously." You do, don't you, Zeb? She does very well, you know. She's even got a Spanish blog. That's the way to do it. Owana said, "That's very good. You have to know my sister. You can talk about Spanish." Okay, that's very good. You have to get to know my sister. You could talk in Spanish. Zeb then said, "Yep, I'm on the hunt for Spanish speakers who would help me with my spoken Spanish and be patient enough with a beginner." Okay, I'm on the hunt for Spanish speakers who will help me with my spoken Spanish and be patient enough with a beginner. Owana said, "My sister is very good in everything. Patience, good speakers. She lived in Spanish by 6 years." Okay, well, here we go. Present perfect. We love the present perfect, don't we? So you could say, "My sister is very good at everything. She has patience and she's a good speaker. She has lived in Spain for 6 years." So then Zeb replied, "Now the question is, can she spare some time to help someone with her spoken Spanish, and would she enjoy it?" Owana said, "Definitely yes. She's a very good person." Okay, definitely yes is fine. She's a very good person just a full stop. There's no need to be using exclamation marks. And again, don't forget your spacing. She will just make her account. I will tell her. Okay. She will just get herself an account. I'll tell her. I love the way you're volunteering her. I must volunteer my sisters to do this. Okay, then Zeb said, hold on, Awana. The place here is for learning English, not Spanish. Okay. This place is for learning English, not Spanish. And then comma, but if you and your sister want to try a language exchange Spanish-English, we can make up something using each other G+ account. Okay, but if you and your sister want to try a language exchange Spanish-English, we can set up something using each other's G+ account. Yeah, we're talking to each other, but when you've got plural, we're using each other's G+ account. And Oana just gave a nice smiley. My reply to Oana's Happy Sunday study, study, study was, thank you, Oana. I hope you don't mind, but I won't be studying. I'll be visiting friends and walking the dog, but no studying. Oana then said, okay, then you will be happy today, right? It's more than better. Yeah, okay, so let's have a look at this spacing. Okay, comma, space. Then you'll be happy today, comma, space, right? Question mark. And then I think you meant to say, that's even better. Excellent. So then we had Ishmam say, hi, how are you? I'll try to use some capital letters. Ishmam, hi, with a capital H, and then how, capital H. Hi, how to learn English, please help me. Okay, so Ishmam, you'd say, hi, how can I learn English? Please help me. Capital P for please, and your H should be a capital, and the H in how should be a capital T, a capital 2. So I replied, hi Ishmam, have you read some of our tips? And I provided a tip to some of the tips on the Learn English Network. Amatsu joined us and said, hello Ishmam, how to learn English? Practice, play and enjoy it. We'll add that. Oh, Amatsu, 2 exclamation marks. How very frivolous of you. You can do all 3 with LEN, so I will look forward to seeing do it. Okay, I think you meant to say I'll look forward to seeing you do it. Shatha then joined us and said hello. I said hi Shatha, and Matsu said hello Shatha, how are you? Shatha never replied. And then Gim came in and said hi Line. Okay, it's Lynn Gim. It's Lynn, L-Y-N-N-E. I am sorry, but I think there was a confusion when you post 2013-11-12 LEN Live Chat Part 2 on Spreaker. It sounds that this is the same file as the one posted at the beginning of this week. Could you please post the correct Part 2 file? Okay, you were quite right, Gim. What you could have said is, I'm sorry, but I think there was some confusion when you posted the blah 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 live chat part 2 on Spreaker. It sounds as if this is the same file as the one you posted at the beginning of the week. Could you please post the correct part 2 file? Okay. Thank you very much for all what you do. Okay. Thank you very much for all you do. P.S. I do not despair of being able to talk to you all soon on SL, not only listening. Look forward to it, Gim. Oana then said, I don't think that is a confusion because Lynn do it weekly, so she will post part 2 in 19 November. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Oana, you'd say, I don't think there is any confusion because Lynn does it weekly, so she will post part 2 on the 19th of November. Maybe I'm wrong. Gim said, in fact, Line posted the first part of the 2013-11-12 live chat on 2013-11-12. But as there was too many threads to explain, she decided to record the remaining threads reading during the week. So what you could say there, Gim, is blah blah blah, Lynn posted the live chat, but as there were too many threads to record, she decided to record the remaining threads during the week. Okay. The remaining threads reading. She decided to record the remaining topics during the week. That would be better. As far as I understand, the 2011-12 Live Chat Part 2 file that she has just posted on 2013-11-17 should be the remaining material. Oh, this is getting complicated. Actually, this will represent 2 records for this week exceptionally. It's not looking so exceptional now, is it, Gim? So, actually, this will be 2 recordings for this week, which is an exception. Not anymore. I then replied, "You're quite right, Gim. I posted the wrong file. Oh, I'm uploading the correct one now. Thanks for noticing." Oana said, "Okay, maybe I don't know much about that." Gim then said, "No problem. I am quite new in here, and I try to use all the materials at their best." So, Gim, no problem. I'm quite new here, and I'm trying to use all the materials to their utmost. There's a word for you, utmost. And Oana said, "I'm doing the same thing." Excellent bit of English. And we've run out of time again. So, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Take care. Bye.